Okay, hello, it's Dr. Alan Yim. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some of the steps and the final product for when you record your video of a melody moving in steps. So as you can see right here, there is a melody, and if you look at it, it only either moves up by step, down by step, or stays the same. So step one would be to just recite the movement of the melody. So as you can see, it starts out moving up by step, up by step, up by step. Then as it goes to measure 2, it stays the same. Then down by step, down by step, down by step, stays the same. Up a step, and then as we go to the next line, it moves up a step, up a step, up a step, same. Down a step, down a step, down a step, down a step, and so on. So you would do this for the whole thing. Then you could try saying the solfege, and you don't need to say it in rhythm to start. So it begins on C. This is in the key of C, and you could tell by looking at the key signature, there are no sharps or flats. But for now, actually, you might not know that. So I will tell you what key it's written in. But the first note is C, which is where you see that it begins. So here's the solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, fa, mi, re, do, do, re, mi, fa, so, so, fa, mi, re, do, and so on. Now you might try as a next step saying the solfege with the metronome in rhythm. But before you do that, I recommend that you count and clap the rhythm. So you could count it whatever way you like. You know, there's several different methods. You could also conduct it, which I like to do. So I will just count the beginning, which I think you already know. 1, 2, and here I go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, and I'm done. Okay, notice the last 2 lines have kind of a tricky rhythm because you have a dotted half note in the second measure of the 4th system. That measure could trip you up, and it comes at the very end. So just be ready for that spot where you have the dotted half note followed by the quarter note. The beginning rhythms and the beginning scales are very easy, and as this goes on, it gets a little bit trickier, so you have to be vigilant the whole time. All right, now I will say the solfege using the metronome, and I'm going to set the metronome at 80 to start, but you should set it at the level that you feel comfortable. It could be much slower. Also, when you do the counting and conducting, I recommend you use the metronome as well. So here I am now at 80. Okay, and I'm going to say the solfege at this beat. You could try conducting if you like, whatever works, whatever combinations you could do this in, the better. So if you could conduct, great. If you could use the hand signs, great. All right, maybe I will use the hand signs. So here I'm going to say it. Do, re, mi, fa, fa, mi, re, do, do, re, mi, fa, so, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so. Okay, so that's just saying the syllables. Of course, the goal is to do this at this tempo singing. Okay, so now I'm going to try to record this at 80, singing the pitches on solfege. Here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so. For the challenges, you can try this at 120, you can try using the hand signs, and you could try conducting. I just realized I was doing the hand signs. You don't have to do the hand signs as you're sight singing. Now, some tips about sight singing. You really aren't supposed to be practicing it. I gave you practice steps to do this, but ultimately, the idea is that you'll look at the music and you'll just be able to sing the correct rhythms and the correct pitches right away without having to do any preparation at all. So how is this possible? Well, one thing is you know the relationships between the notes. Here it's really easy because it only goes up or down by step in the scale or stays the same. So it's either going to go do to re to mi, or re back to do, or re to re. You don't have that many options. Secondly, it's really important to look ahead. Don't get focused on one little spot in the music because you won't be able to see what's coming up next. You always have to be looking ahead in the music. So don't have a narrow focus, have a wide focus, and try to look around at the music, not just in one spot. Second of all, keeping a steady pulse is really important. So this is where the metronome comes in. When you're working with an ensemble, a conductor, or another pianist, you have somebody who kind of pushes you along. So you're sort of forced to keep the tempo. There's no value in a person who can't stay in tempo if they're going to be in an ensemble. They could be singing the right notes, but if it's at the wrong time, it's not the right note. All right. Lastly, when you are sight reading, you have to pick a tempo that you can get most of the notes. But actually, if you miss a couple, what's most important is that you keep going. Don't stop. And if you can, because your eyes are always looking forward, jump to the next spot where you could continue. Sometimes, especially if you're in a group and you're working with other people, they won't even notice if you miss a note or skip over a note. It won't matter as long as you stay in rhythm and continue on with the correct notes. Okay, so that said, I'm going to try this now at 120, and we're going to see what happens. I'll try to maybe use the solfeggio hand signs. You could conduct either way. If you feel that this is too easy, then you could conduct and use the hand signs. And of course, I am joking, because if you can do that, well, I will be super impressed. So conducting and hand signs at 120, and maybe you'll just be done with the class. Okay, so here we go. We're going to try it now at 120. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so. Yay, I made it. Okay, so here's another quick little tip, breathing. Of course, you want to breathe as much as you can. The easiest spot to breathe is right after a long note. So after a half note, or of course that dotted half note. If you're trying to breathe between the quarter notes, especially if you're doing it at 120, you're going to find you have less time to really get a good breath. So do try to breathe after a half note, or a dotted half note, or a whole note. All right. I don't want to say happy practicing, happy reading.